So Family and Fiancé is back after how many weeks away?
Too many.
Well, they were gone longer than we were, so.
That's true.
My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is Conversations with the Crawleys. And on this channel, we do a lot of conversations about faith, family, relationships, and we do recaps, reviews, and commentaries on our favorite shows. This one is all about the latest episode of Family or Fiancé, which actually is a different episode this time because the others have been leading up to engagement, leading up to marriage.
They're married and family.
They're married at this point.
Married and family instead of fiancé.
Yeah, family or married. Whatever.
Married and
whatever
married
you say.
Or
we're going to rename the show. But it's the marriage edition because these folks are considering a divorce. Mm-hmm. So we meet Tiffany and Josh, who have been together for 10 years, married for about 5.
Correct.
But she's drawn up divorce papers. She is like, I'm done. She's ready.
Yeah.
He doesn't want the divorce.
No.
And on the way up there, he gets sick, right? Because they have some other issues going on. It's not just they don't get along, as we find out.
Well, I guess everyone has their marital issues.
True.
And so I think they've been dealing with surface stuff but never could get to the root of their problem. And so we find out that even trying to deal with what's going on, he's become very, as Tracy was indicating, anxiety. So, which has made him ill.
Yes.
And not realizing it's about getting there and having to face your problems.
Right.
Because sometimes when you have to face things difficultly, it can trigger your body to react as well.
Yes. So, yeah, on the way up there, first he seems okay, and then it's like as they're going along, he just like, he starts looking sick, feeling sick, and starts hiccuping. So his anxiety was causing him to hiccup because I was like, at first, it was like, is he drunk? What's the deal? Because he was just hiccuping and not feeling well.
Messing with his stomach.
But Tiffany is like, you always do this. You always are bringing me down. You hate to see me accomplish anything. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, what are you accomplishing with this that he's bringing you down for, right? If the goal is to figure out your marriage, you're not accomplishing something that he is necessarily. It's almost like the way it came off to me was that we on TV now you bringing me down. That's the way it came off.
I think it was just like she wants something resolved. And if he's not well enough to resolve it, then he's making the situation be in a standstill.
I get it.
It's kind of what I was getting from what she was saying.
Okay.
Because it takes 2 people. But if one person is not in their fullest, they're not attentive or they're not well, they can't participate the way they need to move something forward. So.
Gotcha. So they meet with Tracy. And Tracy says that his illness is causing his anxiety. Or his illness is anxiety. That him being sick is not he got the stomach flu. It's his anxiety that is really causing the manifestation of these symptoms, if you will.
Right, because while they're sitting there, her name is Tisha. Her name is
Tiffany.
Tiffany is like, sit up. Hold your head up. Get your body up. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, so.
It was like, I don't care if you suck it up, soldier. You going to do this today. You better get it together.
And Tracy's like, hold on, slow your roll.
Whoa.
Time out. Stop.
This is my space.
I control the actions here.
So if he wanna fall out of that seat, slide down to the floor, long as he keep talking and he don't need medical attention.
Because she did say something to the effect of, if he want to stay looking a mess, he can stay looking a mess.
He can stay looking a mess.
So, but we get a better understanding of what some of the issues or root issues are. They lost their baby.
Yes.
I think she was 7 months pregnant.
And she gave birth, so the baby was early. And since it was only 7 months old, the
baby was premature.
Yes.
But the baby also had the
Prenatal
issue
baby.
that the baby did not have kidneys.
Correct.
And so they basically had the conversations like, there's really nothing we can do. You're just, the baby's going to die.
So just spend time with your child before
Right.
they pass.
So there was that. And then 3 weeks later,
On Mother's Day,
Josh also lost his mother.
he lost his mom.
So he had back-to-back trauma. Like, before he could even heal, really come to terms with one.
Come to terms.
Before he could come to terms with one, he's having another one, right?
Yeah.
Now they do have other children. She has they have 1 and a 2-year-old, from what I understand.
Because right afterwards, she got pregnant again
and again,
and had 2 more kids.
right? Well,
Total of
she
2
has
more kids.
Right, total 2 more kids.
With him.
She also has a 10-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 23-year-old from previous relationships.
Correct.
And he has 1 daughter from a relationship not with Tiffany.
Correct.
Okay. She doesn't want the divorce, but she feels like he is not giving 100% or contributing to the relationship. You know, she's like, I'm giving 100% plus, he's giving 20. And that he does not show up for her. And throughout it, she keeps instructing him, like, sit up, sit straight. And Tracy's like, don't do that.
Yeah,
That's not helping.
That we need to get to the root problem. But she's like, Tracy's like, y'all didn't realize that you've had death in your family, and you're moving through all this and not realizing what's causing this.
Right.
So they are given 2 tasks, as always.
Well, one thing also that Tracy said that I think is very key and very vital, and I think is a great relationship tip in helping to understand.
Okay.
She basically says you can't want the change more for him than he wants for himself.
Yes.
She's like, you're doing all this because you want him to change. But you can't want the change in him more than he wants it for himself.
Pass the offering plate. I mean, those are things that you deal with in relationships, right? Yeah. I can't change you. So, and it is a frustrating, it's a frustrating, daunting thing, is that you meet someone, right? And I feel like you never understand your dynamics until you're in the relationship.
Right.
You don't understand where they've been raised, how they've been raised, and then they're changing along the way, right? Depending on how long you're together. And then some things don't change.
Right.
when you want them to change. And so I think everyone has to come to some of those realities in their relationship.
Yep. So he's bringing his brother, his sister, and his daughter. For her, it's her mother and 2 of her daughters that are coming. The mother describes them as oil and water. She's like, they don't mix well. They don't mix well.
And when they're good, they're good. And when they're bad, they're bad.
So in typical family or fiancé fashion, they have the meeting of, what are your concerns?
And then we do need to just make a comparison that his brother and sister and daughter says it's like organized chaos.
Yes.
So things can be chaotic.
But they see where it can work.
Right.
Or how it works.
How it works. Because at the end of the day, no one wants them divorced. So It's not like I hate to say they don't have a bad marriage.
Y'all know y'all got some family members that y'all like, I don't know why y'all still together. I don't know. Listen.
But it works for y'all.
It works for y'all.
Whatever works for y'all.
I don't see it.
Right.
These family members are like, they have a good solid. It's just they don't, because their concern for most of them could be boiled down to communication.
Correct. Because again, they're like, I don't think anybody wants to see anyone get a divorce.
No.
If they can make a decision to work through it.
Yep.
And depending on what it is, you have to decide, am I going to work through this or not?
Yes.
So
they do meet with each other's families, right? And the primary thing that comes out of that, of course, there's 2 things I think were primary. One, the loss of the child, how that really impacted him. And for her, she feels like he's stuck.
Right. And I think, which you kind of see this theme that Tracy presents as a life coach to them. Is understanding their timeline. Sometimes you need to go back to say, how did we get here?
Yep.
What caused the things that happen in our relationship to get us to this point? And bringing the family into it. Because see, you could talk to your family 3 months and then you don't talk to them 9 months. And it's like, hold on, y'all were happy here. What happened 6 months ago?
Yep.
So everybody's now on the same page to be able to see how they can participate in helping and assisting them to move forward.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things. The other thing that kind of was discussed and discovered with the family was Josh's relationship with his daughter. And so his daughter evidently was not in his life, or he came back into his daughter's life.
When she was 8 or 9.
Or he was allowed back into his daughter's life.
Correct.
That's the way probably to put it.
Correct.
When she was 8 or 9.
Correct.
And so the daughter is like, had a grudge, if you will, because she's like, first of all, who's this man?
I don't know you. And then all of a sudden you come in life and it's like, this is your daddy. Like,
and,
what?
Right. And where have you been? Where have you? And again, here's the thing with children that are part of relationships that did not work out, right? Because we don't know the full story as far as saying that the mother kept away or anything of that nature. We just get what we were presented.
Right.
But the problem or the challenge is that the children don't know all of the things that are happening in the parents' world, or all the things that are happening between the parents. So it could be that, yes, one parent is saying, I want to spend time with you. And the other parent is saying, no, you're not going to spend time. And then they're telling the child, well, your parent doesn't want to spend time with you. So there's all of these different things that could be happening in these different dynamics. And for the daughter, she's like, she had a grudge. But the father, Josh, was also kind of like, she don't call me. She don't text. She don't reach out to me. She's 9 at the time. At the time. She's now 14.
She's an adolescent, so they're putting a lot on her, like she's an adult, to make decisions like that.
Because Tiffany makes a statement, she's like, you're the cause of a lot of problems in our marriage.
Right.
Ooh.
You don't put that on a child.
No.
And I didn't know that Tracy watches the footage of how they interact with their... Because this is the first time she kind of just says, like, listen, I was watching the video. And what y'all was saying to that kid, like, she's a child.
Yeah.
You can't tell a child that she's messing up your relationship and your marriage.
Yeah.
That's a grown stuff. And and then Tiffany tries to explain, well, I was trying to fight for her to come and live with us, so I'm getting an attorney. I'm gonna fight the mother so that he can have his daughter with him. But he was thinking, well, because I'm fighting her now, she's trying to do all this other stuff to keep me away from my daughter because you're fighting for her and I didn't ask for it. Because that's kind of how he is kind of put out there.
Yeah.
He didn't ask for her to go that route.
Right.
And so Tracy puts it, a child could activate something, but they're not the cause of different things.
Because, and they had some I think they had unrealistic expectations for the daughter, because even Josh was like, I lost your brother, the baby.
You didn't even call me.
Well, if we're talking 5 years ago.
And I hardly knew you.
She's 9. I'll give her 10. She's 10. I don't know what you want me to say at 10 years old to you. 9 years old.
Right. You call me like, your brother's dead. I don't even know you as my father, let alone a stepbrother who was an infant, a preemie that died. What am I supposed to say to you? I am sorry. But to have the empathy and to have the emotional intelligence to put all that together.
That of a 9 or 10-year-old.
I would never expect that out of them. And so it just could tell how almost like they were in some type of delusion of how everything should have been working when everything was not in its present state.
Yes.
Because Tracy had to tell us, like, okay, let's go back. When all that happened, do you know the baby only 9? She was 9 or 10 years old?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like, whoa.
Right.
Whoa. Like, when I feel like when you're in distress and you're in trauma, you lose track of time.
Yes.
You lose what happened and the events that occur in time.
Yeah.
And I think when that happens and when you finally come up out for air, you don't realize of all the time you miss because of the trauma you experienced.
Right. Yeah. So they do have their second meeting with Tracy. He is much better, and that's just kind of where she checks them on. Y'all shouldn't have said that to that baby.
Yeah.
But she does point out to them, y'all dealing with trauma, so you need to talk to a trauma expert because you're not going to resolve anything until you really unpack and uncover all of what those losses have done for you, right? So they meet with the trauma expert, and basically she's like, look, let me give you a word for what you're experiencing. It's depression. You're in depression. You are. She's like, I'm basically telling you, you're clinically depressed. And that's an eye opener for both of them, right? Because because he would be making statements, according to Tiffany, he would make statements of how he doesn't want to be here anymore, and that's a scary thing to hear because immediately your mind goes to suicide, right?
Right.
And he was saying, I'm not necessarily saying that he was suicidal, as much as he's hurt. He wants to escape. Is really what he's saying.
And so, the doctor was indicating, okay, so he's had this loss of a child in his arms, right?
Yeah.
So all this is happening to him in real time, and then Mother's Day, he loses his mom, who was saying it wasn't sudden, but she was ill.
Right.
And then now you're saying you want to leave him. So it's another level of grief, loss.
Yep.
And so everyone's abandoning him in a sense, right? Not on purpose, but
that's the way he's receiving it.
That's how he's receiving it.
He has yet to heal from the first two losses, and you're threatening another loss.
And sometimes in trying to be strong, we don't allow for our own time, right? Because he's trying to be strong for his wife. She had a baby premature and now died. So he's trying to be strong for her. Now he loses a mother. He has siblings he's trying to be strong for. But at the same time, no one is saying, okay, it's your turn.
Right.
See, because when we're all in it together, we're all in that boat that's sinking. Everyone is like, I'll keep pouring out the water, but I'm not giving, no one's taking turns, right? Yeah. And we're trying to survive. And so even in that moment, she's still trying to kind of like prompt him up, you know? And the doctor's asking is like, why do you got to keep going? Because why do we always have to feel strong? There has to be moments where you can take a break to let it go, not stay there.
Right.
Because the doctor was saying, we feel like if we don't, if we keep going, we're going to be fine. When sometimes you need to let go for a period of time, and it's okay because you can get back up.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, why you feel like you have to keep on going? Because she said, only thing, she feel like if I slip, I'll be back in the hood. Yeah. I'll be back struggling. It's kind of what I got from that. Yeah. And I think a lot of Black women, when we get to a certain point, is like, I just got to keep moving. Because if I don't keep moving, if I don't keep trying to do better for my family, if no one else is going to show up, I have to show up to get us out of where we could end up staying. Yeah. So she started breaking down crying. Yeah. Then I had special effects going. She couldn't breathe. I was like, please don't do this. Because it was like
extra.
It was a dramatization of her like can't catching her breath, right? That she was about to have a panic attack. Yes. Because now all the realization, when you have to realize I'm causing this for my husband, I can't have a moment myself. Everything is just heaping on me when I'm trying to escape, but I can't escape. So I think it was a lot of clarity, but it hurt. It hurt.
Lots of moments of clarity.
At the same time.
So they after that, he also meets with his daughter.
Correct.
And he kind of clears the air with his daughter. He's like, look, we shouldn't have said that. He's like, but I need you to know that I love you, that you are wanted, that there's not been anything that I was trying to do to push you away or keep you away or anything of that nature. So,
which was good because I think she even apologized to her as well.
Because the adult has to be the adult.
You have.
Sorry.
I mean, we have to parent. You know, we can't expect grown things from children. That's all to it.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna respond and be an adolescent and be a child.
Yeah.
And in turn, I have to be the adult.
They have to be the adult. Yep. So they do have their final conversation with Tracy and kind of talk about their breakthroughs, what they've realized, what they've come to understand, and like we said, their moments of clarity through all of this. And so they typically, of course, there is the blessing ceremony where the family gets the opportunity to say, we give our blessing or we don't. Because they're already married and the conversation was, are they going to get a divorce? This ceremony is more of Tiffany and Josh saying we're either going to stay together or we're going to divorce. And they, of course, decide that they are going to stay together. Tiffany even rips up the divorce papers.
Correct.
And the family's good with that because they once everything came out and they could see and hear what was causing the trauma and what was causing the issue, then it becomes clear that it's not y'all don't have issues with each other. You're having issues and you don't know how to communicate them as far as how you need to heal, how you need help, or what have you.
Yeah, because the suggestion is they both get their own therapist and see couple counseling. You know, I think, and maybe it was given or maybe it wasn't. I mean, after a death of a child, there should have been a lot of paperwork handed to them saying, hey, here's free services.
Yep.
There's a grief group. I know there have to be groups for parents that lost, you know,
children, premature children,
right?
Whatever, yeah.
So, and offering services, and we have to stop saying no. I'm good. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna pass. It takes a while, I want to say, I feel like grief has its stages. And we get to a point where we still have a memory of our loved one, but it doesn't sting as when they first, pass away.
Right.
You're going to miss them. You know, years may go by and you see them, think about them, and you're going to miss them. And it may not be as heavy for some people, and you can work through it. Right. But to say, I'm not going to talk to no one, I'm going to just hold this in, I'm going to just be strong. When you need those moments to cry, you need those moments to get out and kind of work through the grief of losing somebody, you know.
So we find out, of course, at the end that they are together. They are working on their marriage. They have they're getting counseling.
Yeah.
They're spending time. They're making sure they go on dates and stuff like that. So they're doing all of the positive behaviors that you would want to see for them to begin to move forward as a couple and not repeat the mistakes that they've made individually and collectively. After not being able to heal from their trauma. So
again, I mean, if people are willing to make those changes and consistently not fall back into those bad habits, there's a lot more marriages that can be saved. And maybe they'll start doing a little bit of both. You know, bringing on people who are thinking about divorce.
That could be interesting.
That could be
a spin-off show or something. Or y'all can reach out to us. We could do something for y'all. Just saying. All right. So look, that's it for this one. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're getting those notifications. Make sure you are considering becoming a member, checking out the merch store, and just all around liking, following, sharing, doing all those things because it helps us. But also, the new year is starting up, and of course, a lot of the shows are coming back. Ready to Love is coming back. Married at First Sight's coming back.
Yep.
We'll see what else is out there. And
and we're going to be getting out those members videos.
Yep.
So please subscribe.
All right. And we'll see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Be blessed. Bye.